Alrighty. I have that it is almost 12:02, so we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to this webinar to discuss registration, technical troubleshooting, and voting for the clergy and lay sessions that will happen this weekend, this Saturday, that are all online. And we are glad that you're here. I'm Amy Ezel with the Center for Communication in the Arkansas Conference office. And we're going to just have some conversation today about like I said, troubleshooting and sharing information so that you better understand how things are done and hopefully make everything smooth for you and anyone else from your congregation who might be joining one of the sessions this Saturday. So if you have questions during the conversation, if you would please just put them in the Q&A. I will be monitoring that, and we will do our best to get to each of the questions, but just know that we're going to talk about registration first. We're going to talk about troubleshooting from links, from email links to Zoom links, and then we're going to talk about voting. So, so you might want to wait a few minutes before you ask to make sure that we're not going to cover it first. So, just a suggestion there. But we're going to go ahead and get started first with registration. And I'm going to invite Jacob Turner, who is our web developer and local church liaison, to share with us the everything that we need to know about registering for a clergy or lay session for this weekend.
All right. Thank you, Amy. Again, my name is Jacob Turner. And if you've been on a webinar and heard a voice that sounds very similar, yes, it's me. I'm not usually in front of the camera. Just go ahead and share briefly with you a little bit of information about registration. And I'm actually going to go ahead and share my screen just to show people a couple of things. So on your screen right now, y'all should see the Arkansas Conference website. And so on the website, if you are looking to register for clergy and laity session, you will go up here to the top where it says conference sessions, and then click on annual conference 2021. If you click on that, you'll be taken to the annual conference screen. Scroll down the page slightly. Here, there's a section that has the clergy session and laity session and registration links for each. Since this is the week of clergy and laity session, you will receive your link as soon as your registration is approved and you are listed as being eligible to vote. You can choose either registration link and it will take you to the proper place.
Hey, Jacob, can you clarify for folks? I know this has been an issue for some people who have registered. Will you share with them about the turnaround time on how long it takes to get confirmation for registration?
So it does take a little bit of time. It is not immediate because every registration has to be manually approved. And so if there's an influx of last minute registrations, that means your registration can be delayed in being approved. And in fact, something else that you should know is that registrations, you will need to register by the end of the business day tomorrow, May 20th, in order to ensure that your registration will be properly processed and approved. Because again, it's not immediate. We have to check your name and your voting status against a master document that allows us to confirm that. And that does take time. So we encourage you, if you have not already registered for either the clergy or the laity session and you are eligible to do so, go ahead and do that now so that we can make sure that you have your links in time. And Palmer can also speak a little bit more to that on the registration approval.
Okay.
So
thank you. I just wanted to cover that because I knew we had received a couple of questions already.
Right, totally understand. So just to briefly go over what information is required for registration, I'll choose the clergy session. It'll ask for just a few pieces of information, your first and last name. It is really, we really need to make sure that your first and last name is accurate. There's sometimes if you register that if the name is off, that might mean we don't immediately approve your registration because we have to check and make sure the right person is registered the right name. And also keep in mind that you cannot register multiple people using the same email address. So one registration per email address, and that is so that we are in compliance with state law in terms of making sure that authorized stakeholders are allowed to vote. So keep those pieces in mind. You'll have your first and last name, your email address, your street address, and then your church name. And that is information that's requested for both, the clergy and the laity session. So this registration form is the same regardless of which session you register for. That's sort of the brief overview of the registration process. And yeah, Amy, are there any questions so far that need to be answered?
Yeah, well, I want to know, we need to know if there are any, does it matter which email address you provide?
So you will need to use an email address associated with a Zoom account. And if you don't register with a Zoom account email address, you will get an error message, and Palmer will we'll be talking about what do you do when you get this error message. We'll be able to, it's not the end of the world if you get an error message. It's easy to resolve, but you might receive it, and we'll show you what to do.
Gotcha. Also, we have a question from Michael Gibbs that if your home church registered you, will you still get confirmation that you've been registered, or will the church?
So it will be whoever email address was used to register. So if the church registered you, but they use their email address, the confirmation will go to their email. So that's the key thing here. And we know that some people don't have their own personal email address. So maybe they use the churches. So the church will need to make sure that they get that information to you regarding connecting to the webinar at the appropriate time, because that's the only way we can communicate the proper connection information to y'all.
Perfect. Also, so we will cover some of these other questions after we get through some more information. And so I'm gonna hold off on these questions until a little bit further into the discussion, if that's okay.
If there are no further questions about registration, I'll turn it back over to y'all.
Okay. I would like, I think that if you want to not, let me ask if there are any additional questions about, okay, so here we go from Sue. I have received webinar registration approval document, but it does not have a live link. How does she get the live link?
I think that is something that Palmer will be covering.
Gotcha. Okay. Sue Clark, we're going to cover that in just a minute. Okay. Let me see what else we've got here. Reggie, you noticed when you registered for the clergy session, your church came up under the name section. Do I need to cancel the registration and use my name, or am I okay with the present registration? Jacob?
So if your registration has already been approved, and we took the extra time to make sure that the proper people that you said you were. This is an issue that we've noticed with some people who manage their church's Zoom account. You can go in and change the name when you do registration, and we prefer you do that because it means we can approve your registration quicker. But if we've already approved it, then you have nothing to worry about at this time.
Very good. Very good. Okay. I think we are good on registration. All right, so we'll go ahead and turn it over to Palmer Lee, who is our information technology manager. And Palmer is going to share some information about troubleshooting. He's going to talk about having the correct email, what the link should look like, what messages you might get if there's an issue, what it should look like, and I'm sure you'll probably have a lot of questions for him. So I'm going to turn it over to you now, Palmer.
All right, thank you, Amy. Hello, everyone. And I'm going to share my screen here just to kind of go through a registration, what you should get once you finish the registration per hitting registration. And then I'm going to cover a few error messages that we may have. So I'm going to share my screen here. All right, gang. as you can see, Jacob walked us through where to go to find the registration for the clergy session. And so I've kind of pre-filled this out, gang, with my name, first name, last name, email address, which is a test, address, zip code, phone number, and church. I just kind of put conference office here. So once you get to this point and you click register, if you receive, this is kind of my number one error message here. If you receive this error message here, what this is basically telling you is you don't have a Zoom account. It's not telling you that you haven't signed up for clergy session. Well, it's clergy session, we don't recognize you. This is purely telling you you don't have a free Zoom account. So you will definitely need to hit this sign up free. And once you hit sign up free, it will walk you through putting in the email address that you have given us to register for this clergy session, which needs to be the same one you register with Zoom. And once you do that and come back to this page, you'll see something like this. I'm not a robot. You will see this. And once you see this screen, this lets you know that you have registered for the clergy session itself. And this is basically only thing you have to look forward to until we approve you, so that you will receive your confirmation with that live link. And I think we had a question earlier about what does that, we have a question about somebody didn't get the live link. And if that's not in your confirmation email after you've been approved, you will have to contact either me or Jacob so that we can resend you that confirmation email so that you can have the correct live link. Because each time a confirmation email comes out, there should be a live link. If not, if there's a link there, you may want to copy and paste it into your web browser, then you'll still be able to get into the webinar that way. But if there's not a live link in your confirmation email after you get accepted or approved, that's when you'll need to contact either me and Jacob, and we'll need to resend that out to you.
Okay, Palmer, in Sue Clark's question about she's received webinar registration approval, but it does not have a live link, and the URL is 5 lines and will be impossible. How does she get the live link? And I know you said that she probably could reach out to you, but I also thought you might talk about the fact that sometimes these URLs are very, very, very long.
Right.
The link is, I mean, that's very common for it to be, 5 lines. So is that something maybe she can follow up with you later, or?
Once again, Sue, like I said, you should definitely have that live link. And if that's too long to copy and paste into a web browser, then I would have to kind of send that registration to you again via the email address you provided for us. But that's kind of the only way to kind of get around that.
Okay.
It's just copy and pasting that, 5-line link.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Sue. Also, we have a question about sharing devices. Can a clergy couple or, can they share a computer to attend the session and participate? And
once again, you two can share the computer to view it, but if any voting has to happen, you'll both need separate devices. Meaning one of you guys can get on your computer and then one of you can utilize your cell phone. If you have a smartphone, you simply download the Zoom app. You will have to create a separate Zoom account so that you can gain access to the webinar. So both of you would need to register, not just one of you, but both of you.
Perfect. Thank you. I hope that helps, Sam. So yes, you're, let's see. Yes, so the laity and the clergy couple, both people will have to register and use separate devices to be able to vote. But but you won't be both attending the same session. if that makes sense. The clergy is just for clergy and laity session is just for laity. So let's see, we have a question on, have you approved everyone who is registered so far? And we may need to go back to a Jacob question and just explain again that it usually is like at least a 24-hour turnaround. And because so much has to be approved, and because of the new state law for conducting business online, it all has to be done in a very certain and specific way. So Jacob, do you have anything else to add to that?
It looks like we've had a number of registrations early this morning. We have not tackled those yet. We will be doing that soon. Also, I do want to note, because this has come up already, there are a few clergy who have signed up for the laity session and a few laity who have signed up for the clergy session. If you signed up for the incorrect session, your registration won't be approved. So please make sure that when you register, at the very top of your screen, it will say either AC 2021 clergy session or AC 2021 laity session. So if you registered a week ago and you haven't heard anything from us, check in, please send me an email. We'll make sure you register for the correct session, because otherwise you will not receive a link.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, Palmer, can you also speak about the laity session too? That is most likely going to be the same, except for there's not going to be voting for the laity session. But is the laity session registration and confirmation and logging on, is all of that the exact same as what you went through for the clergy?
Right. You know, register whatever email, whatever confirmation email you receive, that's the link you're going to use. If you're a laity member and your spouse is clergy, you guys are not going to use the same link. You guys need to have two separate links. You guys need to register separately, and and even be on two different devices. You know, if you both are clergy couple, you may could be on the same device, but you only have one vote. So it's still kind of best for you to register separately and be on two different devices.
Gotcha.
And Ron Hayes sprung up a real good good point down here. If you take the 5-line link to a Word document and you can convert that to a live link, you just have to hit the hyperlink button once you have the 5-line link on a Word document.
Can you, Catherine has asked, said that some may not know how to copy and paste a URL. Can you pull up your screen and show how to do that, please?
I can. Let me pull up this Word document here, and I will do that. Okay. Word document. All right, I'm going to share my screen now. Screen 2. Okay. All right, guys. So here is a URL, which is live, but I'm going to show you what it looks like when you copy and paste it. And then to make that link live, you simply come here to hyperlink. Click OK. Now you have a live link to click on. And that's what will happen. When you copy the link to Word, you're going to completely copy it and right click, completely copy it, right click, and you'll come down here to hyperlink. So I can edit the hyperlink, I can remove the hyperlink. It's just all in what we want to do. Now it is a live link. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing now.
Okay, thank you so much. So we have someone, can you send an email to ask for the live link sent again? Yes. Palmer, will you put in the chat your email address, that if anyone has any specific questions? Okay, questions are, all right, so Linda Black has a great question, and this is a common issue, and this is probably a Jacob and Palmer question. She received a confirmation email, but it is not the email that she has linked to the conference. Her Yahoo email has the free Zoom account, not the AOL one. The AOL is my main email. So will that make a difference? When I got the error message, I automatically put in my Yahoo address.
It will definitely make a difference. Once again, you're going to have to use the email address that we have on file, and then you're going to have to create a free email account with that email address.
Okay, thank you.
I thought so.
Oh, sorry about that. Hit the wrong button. Pre-conference journals we are still waiting for them to come in. They will probably be mailed out hopefully next week. Let's see.
Hey, Amy,
Yeah.
I'll jump in because I'm seeing a couple of questions in here. Just as clarification, the Zoom links we are talking about today are only for the clergy and laity session.
Right.
For annual conference in a couple of weeks, those will be handled separately, and you will receive an email with further information if you have registered as either a virtual or hybrid person. But that has nothing, we're not covering those Zoom links today. We are only covering the registration for the clergy and laity session specifically that is happening this Saturday. So I just wanted to clarify because a couple of people have asked about that.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I see we have a couple.
Go ahead.
I just see we have a couple questions too about where to register again.
Yeah, if you'll show that.
So let me just, once again, I'm gonna share my screen here, and I want to show you guys how to register for the clergy session, the laity session, and annual conference if you need this particular link here. So once we go on to arumc.org, the main website here, what we will do is come over to conference session here. You will see annual conference 2021. You will click that. If you are trying to register for annual conference, you will come to this first register now link. If you're trying to register for the clergy session, you will click register here. If you're trying to register for the laity session, you will click register here and fill out the appropriate information.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to go through some of these questions. Charles Watson has asked, is there an issue with attending conference in person and then online after that? Absolutely not a problem. Charles, you need to get that registration in though ASAP, because actually the deadline has passed to register for annual conference. And so you need to get that done like really quickly, but there are options on that registration for you to say what day you'll be there in person and what day you'll be joining virtual.
So Amy?
Yes.
For those that are attending, again, this is annual conference in person, if they need to leave, they can turn in their voting device, and at that point we will switch them to the Zoom virtual meeting, and they can get their registration there. They just can't have both at the same time. So it basically will be overnight for them to switch from an in-person to a virtual. We can't do it immediately.
Gotcha. Do all lay members need to attend the Saturday laity session? That is, if you are a member, if you had been elected at your district conference, elected and approved as a member to the annual conference, then yes, you should attend the laity session. If you are just attending as a guest and as a lay person, it really, you can attend, I do believe, but I think Todd, can you or can someone else clarify that?
Yeah. It is highly recommended. It is not required, however. So if you can't make it Saturday, you still are able to attend annual conference. There's no requirement there. A lot of it will be geared more towards first-time lay members and anybody that wants to kind of walk through the process of how we do voting, how you can be recognized, those kind of parliamentary basics. But no, you do not. You're not required. It is recommended.
Perfect, thank you. Yes, there is a separate registration. There is a separate registration. Jacob, can you show your screen again and show everybody where the registration is for the clergy session and the lay session? That registration closes tomorrow.
I got you, Jacob.
That is just for Saturday. That is this coming Saturday, and it is all online. And the annual conference registration is separate. So yes, you do need to register for both, and they are both super easy to find on the ARUMC website, as you can see here.
All right, so I'm gonna walk you guys through this one more time here. We're on the arumc.org. Come over here to conference sessions. We will go down to annual conference 2021. For annual conference, as as soon as you get on the page, you can simply come down here and click register now. It will take you to the annual conference registration, which is closed at this time. If you want to register for the clergy session for the 22nd, you click here. It's going to take you to our registration for the clergy session. If you are going to register for the Laity session, register here. Want to make sure that you're registering for the Laity session. Fill out the information, and then you will get your registration has been approved or is pending here. And then you will get your confirmation email once you are approved. All right.
Alicia asked, for those that are laity, do they need to be the designated lay member to the annual conference? Yes, you do. In order to attend the laity session or a virtual session to where you have voting rights in the virtual session for annual conference, yes, you have to be the designated member or the alternate that has replaced the designated member.
Right, and that it is very important that everyone hears this message, and this will also be this will be on the website for everyone to see. That the only way that a substituted layperson will be allowed to attend annual conference with full privilege is if they were elected, the layperson, if they were elected at district conference, but if there's a substitution made, this has to be approved by the district superintendent pre-annual conference. There will not be any late or in-person registrations for lay substitutes, no exceptions. That will not happen.
The DS can't just approve it. They have to have a charge conference. The charge conference has to vote on that person, and which the DS has to preside over. So, but you have to, all those meeting rules that you have to run into. So if your lay member you know is not going to be there, you need to contact your DS immediately. That way you can do some sort of charge conference and have that person replaced. It has to be at a charge conference.
Thank you, Todd. Laquita, if you are a lay leader who attends every year and you've been to the lay session before, you do not have to attend on Saturday. It is recommended that everyone who is a member of the annual conference, a lay member, that they do attend. But if you can't, it's okay. You can still participate in annual conference, but it is just recommended. So I hope that answers your question. So let's see. Todd, do you want to go ahead and discuss voting? Because we've had a lot of questions about, are we going to vote at the clergy session and at annual conference, and then also, definitely how we're going to be able to vote, since we're going to be in person and in
Yes. So this weekend in our clergy session and laity session, the voting is going to essentially be the same as The voting has been at your district conferences, or any Zoom meeting where you did a poll. And so it'll come up as part of the Zoom meeting. We will ask for yes or no votes. You click yes, no, or whatever the poll question is. And all that can be handled. The in-person annual conference adds to the level of complexity. We've hired Paget Communications, who we've worked with for years. They are going to be in person with the handheld devices like we've used before, but they also have a new system that allows us to utilize voting on the website with the Zoom link. So you're going to log into a Zoom similar to what you have done before. You're going to log into that through the link that we send you. And whenever Bishop Mueller calls for a vote, if you are participating through the Zoom webinar, the screen will come up and ask you to vote yes, no, whatever the question is. For those that are in the audience in person, they will use their keypads and press 1 for yes, 2 for no, just like we've done for many, many years. And then that computer will tally all of those votes together almost immediately. That way we can move, even if we have a close vote, we can proceed fairly quickly. That is, again, for annual conference. That is not for this weekend. For this weekend, it's the simple Zoom polls like we've used many times before.
Gotcha. Any questions about voting this weekend?
Amy, I have a
Yes.
question.
Perfect.
I can put up what the poll looks like for people if you want me to do that. I'm sorry?
That's great.
Okay. On your screen, if you're not a phone call in, this is what the votes look like if you have not had the opportunity to see these before. I'm just going to throw it up on everybody's screen. You're more than welcome to choose yes or no, whatever question you'd like to make up in your head, I guess, and see how the voting process works. And on our end, we can see those votes coming in live. And then once the poll is closed, there's a pretty immediate responding to the results. But this is what the poll will look like on your end. You'll have the option to choose an answer and then click submit. So just so that everybody can see that on their end.
Perfect. Thank you. Do we have any additional questions? We've covered a lot today, but I feel like that we have been able to do a lot of troubleshooting. Are there any other questions specifically about clergy session or lay session this weekend? Just in review, clergy session, clergy, you need to be there. Yes, there will be things to be voted upon. The BAC will be sent to you probably on, it may be Friday. So anyway, but you will receive that before Saturday. Laity, as far as the session this weekend, you are not required to attend. It is recommended, but you are not required. I'm trying to think of any other top level questions.
I'll respond to the question in the Q&A.
Yeah.
Again, the deadline to sign up for either the clergy or the laity session is tomorrow by end of business, which is 4 p.m. And again, we want to make sure we have your registration in on time so that we have time to approve it and then send out the link, and you have time to make sure that you see the link and have access to it as well. And if there's any issues, we can try to answer them.
Right.
So again, that is tomorrow, May 20th, by the end of the business day.
Thank you, Palmer. Palmer has dropped that link into the chat. If you open the chat, you can go ahead and click on that link and it'll pop up in your browser. And then when this webinar is over, the link will be open so that you won't forget it. And so anyway, that's what I always recommend to people, is that you go ahead and click on the link. if you need to, and it will be in your browser, and it'll be there after this meeting is over. And, or, you know, you might even want to open the chat and take a picture of it with your cell phone. There's just a lot to retype though. But so registration has officially closed for annual conference. We will still take late registrations, but I am begging you to please get those in this week, early next week, because there is so much work that has to go into approving registrations, and especially with the voting devices. And so get those done. The sessions for this weekend, get registered before end of day tomorrow, and then give us a little bit of time to get your registration approved and get the information back to you. And you have emails. I think there are emails for Palmer, and I sent someone, I think I also sent in the Q&A, Melissa Sanders. If you are needing to change your annual conference registration, you're going to want to reach out to Melissa, who is, God, what is her official title with annual conference? She's the registrar. That's the word. Okay, Brock. Okay, so yes, if you are a lay member, if you are going to be attending annual conference, the lay session is this Saturday, and it is virtual, and registration for that is closes tomorrow. Let's see, Amy, I thought I had registered for my husband and I to attend online, but I cannot find my confirmation. What should I do? And if you want to
Just email me.
Email Palmer, and his email is in the chat. So send an email to Palmer, and he will help troubleshoot with you and get you taken care of. Thank you so much for registering early. I appreciate you. As far as the content reports for clergy session, will we have access? When will we have access to that information? So yes, you will, clergy will receive that information. It will probably not come to you until late Thursday or Friday morning. And I understand that many clergy, you know, a Friday is a Sabbath and you don't check email, but you might want, you're gonna want to be looking for this one, and I can't guarantee if it's that it will get there on Thursday. We're gonna try and send it out on Thursday, but I can't guarantee that, but you'll definitely have it on Friday.
Let me speak to the question, I guess, here that's in the Q&A here.
Yeah.
If you have registered for in-person in Zoom for annual conference, and now you need the virtual option, you should be able to modify your registration with your username and email and your registration reference number, and then you'll be able to modify it from in-person to Zoom. But actually right now, I'll take that back. Actually right now, you'll need to probably email Melissa Sanders to get your registration changed from in-person to Zoom to ensure that you get that link for the annual conference.
Perfect. Thank you. Jacob or Palmer, whoever can get to it quickest. I've had a couple of questions about the pre-conference journal. We have ordered extras. If you still would like to order one, please just reach out to Melissa and she can get all of that taken care of. But also be aware that it is already on the website. Jacob, can you show them where that is on the website? That if you want to, you can go on there and you can pick out what page, or if you want the whole thing, you can print out the whole thing, or you can go to just one section and print out, you know, just the section of that if you want to, or you don't have to print it all. You can just have it on your laptop or your tablet or your cell phone. So that option is available. It is already live and on the website. And but if you do want a print copy, the orders have been placed. They should be being shipped to everyone by next week. But we ordered extra. So if you would like a print copy, just reach out to Melissa.
So I've been trying to walk through you guys through the steps on how to find the pre-conference journal on the ARUMC website. Start from the beginning here. Go over to conference sessions again, annual conference 2021. And once you click on pre-conference journal here, you will see a PDF that will appear, and you can either download it, the entire thing. You can also print the entire thing. So here are the ways to grab the pre-conference journal here online.
Thank you. Hey, Palmer, can you do a little more troubleshooting with us? So let's take, for example, what is the timeline that people should receive a response that they have registered when they register for, because there's two registrations, folks. There's a registration for the sessions this weekend that you have to register for before tomorrow. And then there's also the annual conference, which is not until June 2nd. So there's two things that you must register for, and they're both available online right next to each other. So you have to do that. So how soon should someone begin to worry if they haven't gotten a confirmation email?
I'll just say for annual conference here, once you finish your registration, you should get your annual conference registration almost immediately. If you've done virtually, once you are approved, you will receive that secondary email for you to receive your email for the annual conference on Zoom. The clergy session here and the laity session, I mean, once again, once you're approved, by the powers that be here, you should receive that email. And I will say this: if you're registering, if you already registered, 2 or 3 days should be probably tops you since you received that email. But by Saturday, if you have not received that email, please email me or Jacob, and we will try our best to get that out to you.
Perfect. Thank you. So make sure to, I just want to reiterate that there are two separate events. There is the clergy session that is this Saturday morning, and then there is the laity session that will start right after that. Those are all online, nothing in person this weekend, all online. So you have to be able to attend. You have to be a verified member of the annual conference or a verified clergy of the annual conference. And you will have to attend in person, online with a computer, a smartphone, a tablet, or by calling in. Is that correct? Okay. Annual conference, which is not for a few more weeks, June 2nd through 4th, is in Hot Springs at the Convention Center. And you have the option to attend in person or to also attend virtually. So on your registration form for that, you'll need to, you just fill out the form, you just answer the questions and it'll tell you, but just be aware that there are two separate events, and you're going to get a link. You're going to get a link for this weekend, and then you're also going to get another link if you are going to be attending annual conference virtually. You will get a link for annual conference the week before annual conference, and it's probably going to be late that week, but you will get a link closer to annual conference. Okay, let's see. What else do we have here? Okay, all of the, hey, Jack, if you'll check the answered Q&A, you're going to need to reach out to Melissa Sanders, and she can confirm registration for you. And look in the answered Q&A. I have typed out her email a couple of times. And anyway, you might want to take a picture or jot it down. Okay, you cannot find where to register for this weekend. Palmer, can you pull that up again for us? You're muted.
All right.
Go ahead.
Here we go. I'm going to share my screen again and show us where to register. All right. So once again, gang, if we come here to the arumc.org to our main page. We will come over here to conference sessions, annual conference 2021. And here are our conference session and our Laity session. All you have to do is click register here. And I have put the URLs for both of those in the chat if you just click on it and register.
Show that, can you open the chat? Can you, while you're sharing your screen, can you open the chat and show them where that is?
Let's see. Can I do that? Let's see.
If you can't, it's okay. It's at the, it should be at the bottom and you should see that there are like
Here we
13
go.
messages. Okay.
Here we go. Here's the chat here. So I've kind of made my screen real large here. So you'll see my email address here if you have any questions. And here is the clergy session, the URL.
Zoom doesn't show your chat.
It doesn't show my chat. Okay. Okay.
It hides those pieces on your screen.
Okay. Well, if you don't know how to find, once again, if you have any questions, just email me. I'll send you the link.
Okay. Can you please also post Melissa's email address? I must have typed it. Okay.
Yeah, I have. I've the last in our chat, I guess let me put it in the Q&A here. Or if I can do that. No, I can't do that. But if you look in the chat session here, you'll see Melissa Sanders' email address right below the clergy and laity session and pre-conference journal, a link that I have up here.
Okay.
And I'll also note that all of our email addresses are on the conference website as well, under the contact us page. All of our email addresses are listed. So if you don't happen to copy it from here, it is still on the conference website as well.
I can't find it.
All righty. Do we have any other questions? And I just reach out to one of the people in the email in the chat, and they'll be able to help you if you can't see. Palmer, I think. Okay, perfect.
I'm answering her question. You should have received Melissa Sanders' email address to send her an email to confirm.
Perfect. All righty. It has been about 50 minutes, so we are going to close. Does anyone have any last minute questions? Clergy, while you are typing in questions, please let me encourage you to make sure that your lay folks, your elected lay member, is registered for annual conference and is aware of the laity session for this weekend. If they have never been to annual conference before, it is, I mean, I would say it would be crucial for them to attend to the laity session. It's always recommended, but not mandatory. But you need to at least attend it once. And this one would be most helpful since our annual conference is going to be virtual. So perfect. Glad you found it, Leanne. Please get registered. Please get registered. Please get registered. Save these emails if you have any questions. That these folks are going to be on call, but it is so difficult for all of us to have to step away from production, to have to get people registered 5 minutes after the meeting has started. So and we're trying to just not do that this year. So please register and make sure your people are registered and make sure that they have their confirmation and all of that good stuff. But if anyone should have any questions about anything, we have tried to put all of the information about annual conference and the sessions on the website, and that is in the chat. And very easy to find and use. And you should also have email addresses that you can email and any other questions. Jack, okay, so you are trying to assist him with this. Thank you. We appreciate that, and we understand totally that some people do not understand technology, and that technology is just not, it's just hard for people to do. We totally understand. That's why we are encouraging everyone to reach out, especially to any elderly clergy or elected lay members to offer to help them. Just remember, they have to have their own email address and they have to have their own device to be able to vote. That is, and I know that makes it difficult for people, but that is part of our process. So it just absolutely has to be done. Does anyone have anything else in closing? Okay, awesome. You know where to find us. Email us, get registered, get your people registered, and hopefully we'll see y'all this weekend. All right, everybody have a great day. Thank you.